Hey guys, this is J.K. White from the Baseball Rebellion, here to break down Byron Buxton, the number one prospect in this year's 2015 prospect breakdown. And he's considered one of the the best all-around players, a five-tool player, if you will. And we're going to take a look at his swing right here. Now, it's tough finding swings on him. He's been injured a lot the last year, got a limited number of at-bats, and therefore the video was scarce. And this at-bat right here actually was a home run that he hit, and was kind of one of the better swings that I saw of his. It's tough when you're doing these videos. You have to remember that not every hitter is perfect all the time. So if you catch a swing that's one of the better looking swings, that's the one you kind of hold on to. And obviously, it much more preferable to be on the other side and seeing his front, but this will do for us, and we can see some really good things and some things that I think he's going to have to overcome and get a little better at to continue to play the next level. Lucky for him, he's super young and obviously a tremendous athlete, and with the arm strength and the glove, obviously can become a very dangerous hitter and a very dangerous player overall later on in his career as he continues to get older, a little bigger, and things like that. So this is from the back view, obviously, like I said, and he's got the wider stance, he's got the wider setup that you're seeing a lot of these guys in, and as you go through these videos, you're going to see kind of a wide stance. I feel like generation of hitters now. Some of these guys are really big. We talk about Chris Bryant and other guys who are 6'4", 6'5", like really big guys, and are heavier and only going to get heavier with age. And it's one of those things that they can get away with a little bit more size and with a little bit less of a stride, and that's okay for them. And it's not something maybe we would tell a lot of guys, but again, with the size, that makes up for some certain flaws in the swing. Okay, so as we take Byron Buxton here through his swing, again, I like his stance. Everything looks athletic, which is a big part of what we want our young guys to look like. We want to look ready and athletic, but comfortable and relaxed at the same time. That's something that he does really well. So as he goes through the swing, okay, obviously we can see the foot starting to come up at the front side. Okay, as he's doing that, I think something that you can really see is that back elbow. So he starts with the back elbow maybe a little higher than some, and what you can really tell is how as he goes forward, he starts to row that shoulder back, something that we've talked about in previous articles. Okay, you can really watch this back elbow and this back shoulder row back towards this camera here, back towards this coach in the frame. And what he's allowing himself to do is really stretch his body. Now, I will say this, I think a little bit too much maybe here in respects. Now, you got to remember, this ball that he's hit is actually going to be a home run, one of the four or so that he hit, I think, last year, and obviously with limited numbers and limited time, limited at-bats again. But he really rolls that front shoulder in and pulls that back shoulder back in the back, and I think that causes a little bit of an overload in his upper body, and when he lands, all right, I don't think he gets as open on the front side as he can. So he kind of does that toe down move where you put your toe in the ground, kind of ride out the momentum forward, and then slam the heel down when it's time to initiate the swing. And again, it's not closed, but it's not open either. It's kind of in between. And ideally, we want to see that front foot, in fair territory. So it doesn't need to be, in a perfect swing, it would be open all the way so that hips can clearly get through and turn faster. But generally speaking, we like to see that foot in fair territory. And to me, it looks like he's, in this particular swing, towards the dugout a little bit too much. And that's something that he would need to work on. And again, I think it comes from a little bit maybe of an over-rotation at the very beginning. But he gets to a pretty decent spot here. We can see his front knee is obviously bent. Again, not completely open, so that's going to put some strain on his knee. And just like in Gabe's articles and other articles that we've talked about, he puts his front knee in a little bit of stress there, and at the same time, he's locked up his hips a little bit too. However, because of his tremendous quickness and ability to go from here and really stretch his body and really rotate as fast as he can to this position here, obviously he hits it hard enough to get over the fence. If the fences were, maybe 100 feet further back, I don't think that ball goes out, and it's not like he has to hit it 100 feet further to hit a home run. So what he did was good enough to get the ball over the fence and obviously help the team out. Not something that we would want to teach guys, but something that he does and gets away with here, and because of his athleticism and coordination and muscle quickness and being able to fire his turn really fast, he can get away with it a little bit. So here he goes down in the slot with that back elbow, really good spot here. You can see his barrel obviously is moving right away, so he's got really good elbow to barrel connection right there, which is nice to see. Pulls down with it. You can see the back coming from behind his back shoulder, something we love to see a lot here at the Baseball Rebellion, because that means the barrel's coming in from behind the baseball rather than from above it. So you can see how his barrel starts in this direction downward, and he continues to rotate. Now you see his back foot come off the ground right here, so that's really good. There's some thrust there, there's some force being generated there, but again, you can see how it just kind of goes up and goes down, and there's kind of a breakdown of his lower half here. You can see his front knee is still bent, so it doesn't straighten out all the way, and he takes kind of this half rotation, half swing. Again, I don't know what park he's playing at here. Maybe it's a shorter in left field, and that ball got out of there. Either way, it's still not as optimal as it could have been. You know, the more open front side, he could have used his front knee a little bit more, turned a little bit more again. You know, he got away with it, and you know, I think his vision here and his arm placement here is really, really good. You can see how his body is kind of angled and tilted. This is a pretty decent pitch. It's a little bit high, and obviously not the best pitch to the number one prospect in baseball, but you know, it's still not the easiest pitch either. You can see his head down, rotating his hips, rotating his shoulders all the way to contact. He doesn't push out until the very end. Again, it's just a little pushy at the end, but I think a lot of that comes from his lower half not being as optimal in this particular swing that it could have been. I think if he moves a little bit better forward, he gets that front side open more, he rotates his hips a lot more, that backside comes through, I think he's less inclined to want to use his arms at the end a little bit and finish the swing a little bit more and have that full rotation. You can see how he kind of gets out of there and starts running right away. But like I said before, you know, hits it hard enough, obviously, to not have to finish that swing and get it out. So, you know, there's a difference between taking the most optimal, perfect swing and then taking a type of swing that still gets results in games. And I think if we get close enough to the most optimal swing, then we're going to have lots of success in games. And even the number one prospect in the game can be a little bit better in some of the things he does. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, how he continues to move through his career, if he kind of narrows out his stance in order to maybe pick up some bat speed and maybe add a little bit more power to his game. I know he hits really well. You know, he gets a lot of barrels on balls, but I know his power can be flating. But again, he's been injured a lot, so we'll see how it goes. I hope he does well. Obviously, we hope all these guys do well, and we love to see these awesome young hitters in baseball. So continued success for Byron Buxton. I see in the future. I think there's some things he can clean up with his lower half and you know, add a little bit more power to his game. So there we go.